Okay. All right. Hi, everyone. It's Kirsten Kirschbaum here. I am so honored and so excited to be able to finally explain all of the goodness that we are going to be creating. We are partnering with Steph Freed from the Rapha House. Hi, Steph.
Hi, it's
So
good to
nice.
see you, Kirsten. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are going to jump right into explaining the heart of what we're creating and how you can participate with us and what doTERRA is going to do to just maximize all of the efforts from everyone. And so I'd just like to start out by explaining how Kyle and I decided to partner with the Rapha House, if that's okay. Maybe we'll start there. And we've had opportunities to see different organizations for years that, we feel called to, maybe donate to and become a part of, but there has been nothing quite like what I experienced when I first listened to the Rapha House explain, who they are and what they do. And so Kyle and I, I'm going to tell you the real story. Okay. I'm actually going to tell you guys the real life story and it's all going to make sense. Okay. So we have 5 boys and my whole life, I always thought that I would have a daughter. And to be honest, that's how I got 5 boys. I was tricked into it. And the next one will be a girl. Right. And so, I am so grateful for our boys and I was never sad about, them being a boy. However, I remember when the 5th one was a boy and I had a very clear conversation with God. I was praying and I said, really? I'm not going to ever have, because I knew I was done, right? No more babies for me. I knew I was done and I just felt so clearly there would be a girl. And I said, is there a reason? And I felt 100% yes. There's a reason. I've got you. I know you want to raise girls. I know you want to take care of daughters and just hold on and let me just kind of work this, right? So fast forward almost 3 years later, I'm sitting at the doTERRA convention. I'm listening to you speak about the mission of Rapha House and what you do. And I'm going to let you explain what you do. But I had this moment where my heart was burst wide open and I had the clearest download that said, these are your daughters. This is what I want you to do. And whether you have your own daughters or not, that doesn't necessarily matter. You can have daughters and even feel more called to do work with Rapha House, right? Because you know what it's like. You would never want your daughters in a situation like some of these girls are in. But for me, that was my moment. That was my moment where I realized the pivot on my path, like where I'm supposed to go and who I'm supposed to partner with is right here with the Rapha House. So it is my honor to share my story with you and most importantly, introduce Steph Freed. I'd love to hear, Steph, why don't you just kind of start off and share your heart and where you're from and what you're excited about?
Okay,
Okay.
well, I can
I
talk
can
about
see
Rapha
Rapha
House
House
pretty much all day
all
long.
day long. Of course.
So
Yeah.
thanks for sharing this time with me, everybody. I am from Joplin, Missouri, and that is where we are headquartered, and that's where I'm coming to you from today here in the Heartland. Um, in 2003, as I shared at conference, I walked into a junkyard in Southeast Asia, in Cambodia, and I came face to face with the first child slave that I would ever encounter. Of course, since that time, I've met hundreds and hundreds, but that was my first one, and that moment was my wake up call. Um, it was my calling out, and I knew in that moment that was my destiny and was the destiny of my family, to fight for these children. And so Rapha House was born in 2003. And since that time, I mean, it has just exploded with growth that we could never imagine, but that we're so thankful for. And we've gone from one safe house campus to 4 that we're working in now, and also with lots of prevention work. But our mission is that we want to see the trafficking and sexual exploitation of children ended. We want to just see it ended. It's a preventable issue and it can be ended, and we want to see it ended. And we do that through providing safe house and aftercare for child survivors, prevention for the vulnerable, and then awareness for everybody, which is kind of what we're doing today.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. What a great story. And I think all of us can relate on some level of wanting to see. I feel like I just lost her though. How did that happen? Oh, I see you now. Sorry, guys. You know how these technical things go. Are we still good?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. I lost you for a second, but I think we're back now. Okay. So thank you for sharing that story of, the first time that you had an encounter with a child slave and what that meant for you. I think all of us on some level, when we hear about these types of things, we have these different layers of awareness. I know for me, I learned about other not Rapha House, but other organizations, that work to free the children and do all that, and I was inspired by them, and I was also terrified by it. I honestly was my first. I had 3 years ago. I had no idea that this even existed. Like this seems like something from 200 years ago. There's no possible way that it could exist now, right?
Right. And yet.
So, and yet it does. Yeah. So the awareness thing is the awareness is really almost as important as the rescue, don't you think?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So I remember when I first was introduced to this whole concept it scared me to death. I honestly was like, okay, I'm going to donate some money. And then I don't even know if I want to hear about this anymore, because it's the type of thing that can cut you to the core, especially as a mother, where you're like, I can't even function thinking about children in this situation. And so then there was the next year that I learned about it again, and seeing my friends start to take a more active role in raising awareness and funds, and now here we are with Rapha House, with this opportunity that I feel is catered really. I feel like there's something I can do here. Does that make sense? Like I don't personally feel, I know there's some who do, feel like, oh, I'm going to go on that mission. I'm going to go undercover. I'm going to, have a undercover whatever, you know what I mean? And they're going to go out and get the bad guys. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to do that. Like, I don't know. I mean, maybe if I needed to, but with the Rapha House, talk to me about kind of like how that concept came out, and what are some of your favorite ways to work with the public? What are some of the best contributions and ways that, you've worked with people so far?
Yeah, so I think what you've just mentioned, Kirsten, is really key in becoming aware. And we all have our realms of influence, right? So your voice carries weight in your realm of influence. And the day that you became aware, then you were able to share that with your friends and your family in your realm of influence. And so we all have to remember that we all have that realm of influence. And the most powerful thing we can do is use our voice on behalf of these children, because a lot of people still do not know that this issue exists. And it doesn't just exist, it exists in an epidemic way. So UNICEF is estimating, and has been estimating for as long as we've been working, which is 15 years, that every single year, another 1.2 million children are disappearing into slavery globally. That's really unfathomable. Every single year, another million children disappearing into slavery. And when we talk about these children, we are talking about the most vulnerable little humans on the face of the planet. The people that were supposed to stand on the wall for them and protect them, they're completely out of the picture. And they are literally in the hands of people who believe that they are nothing more than property. And so they are abused in every way imaginable. Any way that somebody can make money off of these children, they're going to do it. And so we find that even labor trafficked children, very, very often, the majority of them end up sexually exploited, because it's one more way to make money off of that piece of property. And so this is a devastating issue that we can all be doing something about. And day one is about awareness. It's about learning. It's about being willing to have our eyes open, just like you did, Kirsten, even as painful as that is, to have our eyes opened, and then to begin using our own voice on behalf of those children who very often don't have a voice.
Oh my goodness. So I feel like, if I was listening to this, and I'm even wondering too, like, can you take us to the process? Like, I think just, speaking of awareness, like, I don't understand, like, and maybe because I'm from this country and I don't really see although it's happening in this country too, like it's totally happening in the United States. Um, how does that happen? You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm to myself, I'm like, okay, do I know where my children are? Like, do I, like as a mom, like, who are these children? Like, how does that happen? How do they leave the care of someone who loves them or is aware of them, or are some of them not even born into that? Like, what are you seeing as like the starting point of how
Yes,
this happens?
everything you just mentioned are ways that children are trafficked. Most of the time we think that children maybe are just flat out sold by their parent or a caregiver, and that does happen. But we find that so often this is done by people who are in very impoverished situations, making desperate choices, either for themselves or somebody that they care about, that land them in extreme situations of violence and exploitation. And so when I was first researching this issue, now I'm a mother of three, and when we started Rapha House, I had two little girls, which was a huge entry point for me into this work. Um, but I remember just thinking, how could these mothers sell their children on my worst day, on my hungriest day, on the day, that I was most impoverished? There is no way I would ever sell one of my children. And then I found myself on the field, and I found myself face to face with these women who had been culpable of selling a child. And to see the desperate situation, the poverty that would cause them to do such a thing. Very often traffickers come into a far-flung village, and they'll look around at these very impoverished people, and they'll maybe pick a woman who has 5 or 6 children, or she has no husband, he's off starting another family, they're starving. And that trafficker may say to that woman, I see you have all of these children who don't have enough to eat. If you let me take your oldest daughter, I have a job for her right now in the city, maybe working at a desk in a hotel or cleaning or something. And hey, she's going to have a great life because now she's going to have a job. And I'm going to give you a year's advance on her wage right now. Here is $300 or $400. And you know what? Desperate mothers may fall for that because they want to feed the rest of their children. And so it's not always done, with malintent. It is done out of great desperation. But honestly, Kirsten, most of the time we see people falling for trickery. We see kids who feel like, I want to save my family, so I'm going to get in this car with this person who has promised me this job 3 hours away. But then they're taken and sold into trafficking instead. So there are so many ways that this takes place, and but standing shoulder to shoulder with some of those women who have actually sold their children and hearing their heartbreak and what led them to do such a thing, it's been life changing. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's an interesting perspective, right? It's easy initially for me to be like angry and how could you do that? And at the same time, like you said, you've been with them and you've seen that pain in their eyes and knowing like they didn't maybe even have another choice, or they didn't think they had another choice. And
They have a choice. Yeah.
yeah, the people that are choosing to prey on that, right? Like, oh my gosh, That's awful. That's so awful. So one of the missions of Rapha House is to raise awareness in these communities too, right? So there's us who are aware and capable of donating and going there and putting our big mama, muscles on and like, we'll save you, like we got it, right? So, but really this, when I hear what you're saying, where it's starting, it's the poverty of this country. It's the poverty mentality of these people. What do you see as some of the best prevention awareness campaigns that you guys have done from not from our level, but like from their level as the people who are in this situation?
Yeah, so currently Rapha House is working in Cambodia, Thailand, and Haiti. And whether it's through our aftercare programs or through our prevention programs, we employ many national social workers in each of those countries. So our Haitian social workers are Haitian, they are from Haiti. Our Cambodian social workers are Cambodian. And so they are really our hands and feet in awareness building and training. And they are tireless in their efforts to go out into the communities and to educate these communities about trafficking and about sexual violence, especially against girls, and just raising awareness of what happens to children who are trafficked. Right. And that has been, we have seen so many trafficking situations shut down. We have seen traffickers arrested because people are more aware of what they're looking for. And so they're not so easily fooled once they're educated. And that's a beautiful thing. Prevention is key to Rapha House. We would rather these children never go over the cliff.
Right. Yeah.
Once they do, it takes a world of services to provide care for them.
Right. Yeah. That it's like that 1.2, right? The number that you said, like every year, it's like, oh no, not in 2019, my friends, not in 2019. Like we're not doing that. We're going to stop that. So, oh my gosh, we can totally do this. One of the things that I love, and maybe you can speak also to your partnership with doTERRA, one of the things that comes to my mind, which is really one of the main reasons why I work with doTERRA and I love doTERRA so much, is because of their co-impact sourcing initiatives. You guys, like it's genius. It's from God. It makes sense. I have had the opportunity to go to Guatemala. Kyle's actually been to Haiti. I had a baby and they're like, you're not taking your baby to Haiti. Sorry. But, Kyle went to Haiti and met with these villagers where we source our vetiver oil from that country. And they go in and, help them bring water into their village. And they intentionally look for these areas that they can not only get the best essential oils and the plants and, have those relationships and all that, but where they can also educate these people. I have a lot of friends who have been to Nepal and they have met these women who are growing and harvesting and hauling that wintergreen down their backs. And a lot of them were actually, sending their children to school in town from their village and not seeing them again. And that is the kind of thing that doTERRA is really all about, is raising that whole awareness around the world. So maybe share what initially made you guys want to partner with doTERRA, and like how did the doTERRA Rapha House relationship come about?
Yeah, so as you know, doTERRA has had a really special partner for many years working in anti-trafficking, and that's OUR, Operation Underground Railroad. I think most doTERRians are very familiar with that organization and the good work that they're doing. And doTERRA decided that they wanted to support that rescue work in a powerful way, which they have been doing over the past several years. But then that they also wanted to find an organization that was focusing on aftercare for child survivors. So they wanted to be on both sides of the gamut, if you will. And so one day, Mark Walford, in great research, after his team did a lot of research, he showed up here in Joplin, Missouri, and walked into our office, the most genuine human on the planet, which we find all of the doTERRA owners to be so genuine. But Mark walked in, immediate connection, genuine heart, um, for the children that we're serving, and a deep desire to affect change in child survivors. And so just after a lot of research and a lot of communication, doTERRA adopted us, Rapha House, as a corporate sponsor, and we're thankful. Huge, huge things are getting
Yeah.
ready to take place. Huge, yes.
Oh my goodness, that's so amazing. And now here we all are, right? And we're all like, okay, we want to help too, and we're ready to help too. So one of the things that doTERRA is doing, you guys, this is so amazing. Like step one, as Stephanie said, is to raise awareness, right? We're all becoming more aware. If you were kind of aware before, like this is your deep dive into it. Like in 2019, we will not have 1.2 million children go into this. Like the awareness and the experiences of wanting to, teach these people and just make them aware. Like, so again, that awareness just keeps coming to my mind. So anyway, that's our goal. And so step two, what is step two, Steph?
Well, step two is to find an organization and do your research and find an organization to stand behind financially. And I feel like that's what what you're doing today, and putting, put your money where your mouth is and help these kids out, because we are not able to hire counselors or social workers or provide food or education or anything for these children without those finances. And so whether it's Rapha House or you love another anti-trafficking organization, get behind them financially and empower them to take care of survivors.
Yeah, absolutely. And so what we've created, and doTERRA was so generous to match, we are doing a kind of like a double match campaign, right? So anything that you guys donate, or anyone that you share this with donates, Kyle and I are actually going to match all those donations, and doTERRA is going to match them again. So if you donate $1, it's kind of like donating $3, you guys. Like it's magical. We're making it multiply. It's like the most beautiful thing ever. And we're so excited about that. And there's so many reasons why right now is that time to just, like you said, like put your money where that passion is and just go there, right? That's that first step after you become aware, is just supporting those people. When I hear you talk about, the prevention awareness, like, the social work and the aftercare facilities, and in my mind, I'm like, well, who's doing that? Well, who trained those people? Well, who talked to them? Well, how did they get there? One of the biggest needs that you shared with us, right? And I'll let you talk about it, but like, we were like, okay, what's the number one thing? And you actually shared with me that you need a vehicle. So what happens? What is that need for the vehicle, and what's kind of going on right now? And, what would having this vehicle mean for your organization?
Yes, so we are getting ready to head into a whole new aspect of work, especially in Haiti, working in the prevention area. So we need a social work vehicle specifically for prevention work. And I know you said Kyle's been to Haiti. He has seen these roads. These roads are car eaters, vehicle eaters. They chew them up and spit them out. And so we are looking for a really sturdy vehicle. And it's not just a vehicle, it's a lifeboat, because that vehicle is going to carry those social workers into the most far-flung places where roads end and the vehicles have to continue to go. And we are going to take this message to people who don't understand that children are being trafficked and what happens when their children are trafficked. And we're excited about conducting seminars in these villages and helping people understand the ramifications for allowing your children to go with traffickers. We want to end it. And especially in Haiti, we see a cultural issue that's taking place. We want to be part of a long-term cultural change, a cultural shift, and then a complete change. And we just want to protect these children. And this car, when you say, well, we need a car, it doesn't maybe sound very exciting, but truly, Kirsten, it's the most exciting thing in the world, because, again, it's a life raft for many children who will never have to face the horrible atrocities of slavery.
Well, I think when you think about the vehicle also, I think we have to ask ourselves, what happens if we don't get a vehicle?
Well, what happens if we don't get a vehicle is we can't go. We just can't go.
Yeah.
That vehicle is a tool from A to B to get to the people who need to hear this message. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, it's critical.
Then they don't hear the message, then they're tricked into sending their children off. It's like this vehicle and this first round, again, this isn't the only thing we're going to do, right? But this is like the number one thing that is going to transport us to the places where we can cut that. It's like cutting the head off, right? It's like you cut the head off. Like we can save everything that happens afterwards, and we will continue to do that, but like cut the head off as quickly as you possibly can. And having that vehicle to do that is really, it's really the start. So I feel really passionate about that, you guys. Here's our goal. Mine and Kyle's goal, personally, we are going to match up to $15,000 of any donation. So what does that mean? That means that, 100 people donate $150. Like for a lot of my doTERRA friends, that's like buying an extra loyalty rewards order this month, right? Like, can you imagine if just like one extra loyalty rewards order this month was able to like cut that head off and like diminish that number of 1.2 million? Like, it's such a beautiful contribution. Also, like I said, doTERRA will be matching that as well. So we have the potential to raise at least $45,000 over the course of the next week or so. And I'm just so excited about that, because not only will we be able to purchase a vehicle to get up into those villages and to help those children and help those families understand and raise awareness. But imagine that when you educate one family, then what do? Then they go tell their friends, right? Like, I mean, so we're really, again, we're multiplying the efforts in the very best, most effective way possible. And we actually have leftover funds to be able to care for some of the girls who have been rescued recently. Maybe you want to talk briefly about some of those efforts as well?
Yeah, so we just recently had our largest group of girls. Actually, they're still at government services right now, in kind of in holding, which is sad. But 13 girls rescued all at once. I can't talk about the country that they are coming from. It would be too dangerous for our staff and for them too. But we've never had that many girls referred all in one clump, one cluster, and it was kind of overwhelming. And but we know that we're supposed to accept those girls, and especially after talking to you, Kirsten, and Kyle, and you all saying, "Hey, we're going to up our match so that you guys have some funding there in place to be able to take care of these children whenever they're brought in." That was huge, because this will take a huge amount of resources for us to accept 13 girls all at once. But we know that it's the right thing to do, and we're excited about receiving them, and we're excited that you all are excited about helping us make that possible.
Absolutely. Yeah, we started with a little bit of a lower match amount, and then we heard about these girls and we're like, we can't say no to that. Like, we have to say yes, so we need your help. We need you guys to say yes with us. And so one of the most common questions that I get asked is like, everyone is like, oh yeah, I'll donate. I'm so excited, but what else? What else can I do? And I know for me, like, when I go to, whether you're doing doTERRA or not, but if you were at the convention this last month and you were sitting there with me, just listening, and just my eyes are open, my heart is open, and you guys are with me, right? You guys, most of you were there experiencing this. And I decided right then, there will be no more years that I come back to this convention where I don't feel like I have fully like said yes to the passion and to the change that doTERRA is leading. Like, they lead the way with this, they do. They show us, they're like, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to partner with Rapha House. We're going to help them build a campus and all kinds of other cool things. What are you guys willing to do? And so a lot of people are saying to me, hey, I want to talk to you about this later. I'd love to go into some of these countries with you. let's go, right? I have girls that are like, I want to teach them how to dance. I want to dance with them. I want to do their hair. I want to put oils on them. I want to just, teach them about their cycles. I want to show them that they're loved. I want to, all of the things, right? All of the things that we want to do. And so I think you guys, from what I understand, you've had this influx of people that are like, we want to come, like, let's go here, let's go there, right? And you guys are like, okay, we are now filled up to almost through 2021 now,
Yeah.
people that are, able to come. And so we have something that we created that's pretty exclusive and pretty special just for this interview only. And that is when you do a $250 donation, you are then put on our exclusive VIP list to actually be eligible to come with us on a trip in 2019. So we kind of got to like cut to the front of the line and we're like, hey, we're going to go here. And that's just for those people who are really serious and able to make that $250 donation today and able to, of course, kind of submit your information and be qualified to go and to serve these girls. Obviously, there's some qualifications there. So maybe talk a little bit about those trips, what that looks like, the efforts that are there and kind of what that would look like for us.
Yeah. So when we bring people in to visit our safe houses, we're really careful about who we bring. And we have to be really careful about how many people we bring, because obviously the most important thing is the safety and well-being of our girls, and for them to really stay on a pretty good schedule while they're with us so they can hit everything that they need to hit to maximize their healing process while they're with us. But we do love, and they love, whenever we are able to bring in a team of people to do fun activities with them. It's an amazing experience. So many people, whenever they come onto our Safe House campus, they're expecting a place of maybe sadness, and yet these children are so resilient, and yeah, it's surprising. And sometimes we think we're going there to affect their lives, and we leave just being filled with so much love and joy, and they teach us so much. And so to be able to take a group of people from doTERRA is it's going to be so much fun, and it's going to be such a powerful experience, not only for the group but for the girls and the staff that we're able to bless while we're on the field. And we do a lot of cultural activities on our trips as well, as just being able to spend some time and learn about what Rapha House does.
Wow, that's amazing. I love it. By the way, it's only the first 15 people, actually. I need to say, it's only the first 15 people that do a $250 donation. As much as we would love to take everyone, we have to be aware of, your time and space and ability to receive all of us. So anyway, then again, this is just the first trip that we're going to do. There will be others and other ways for you guys to contribute and participate. Let's see if there's anything else. Oh, maybe just share one or two of just your most favorite stories of just transformation, like maybe, a girl or two that just completely, I know they all have your heart, right? But maybe there's one or two that have come around that you have just seen like such transformation in that you might want to share.
So I would tell everybody that we have a full-length documentary on Amazon Prime. If you are on Amazon Prime, you can download our documentary called Finding Home. And it actually tells 3 full stories of 3 of our survivors in Cambodia. It's an amazing documentary. It's 2 hours of pretty gut-wrenching information, but there's also a lot of joy in the film, and it's just beautifully done. So I would send everybody over to Amazon Prime if you have that, or go to raphahouse.org, and you can download it for free there as well. But definitely check that out, because you will go in depth on 3 stories by doing that. What we wanted to do with Finding Home is we wanted to follow 3 girls after their time with us at Rapha House. Because a lot of times we think that, we tell stories about the trafficking experience and then about the hope and healing when they're in our program. But what we wanted to do with Finding Home was follow them after they reintegrated into their own communities and into their own lives. So we get to see one of them get married. We get to see another one, yeah, and just to watch them kind of progress through life. So it's a very powerful documentary. Again, Finding Home. I would say that one of my very favorite stories is uh, I'm going to get emotional. My husband always asks me, when are you going to be able to tell these stories without getting emotional? It's been 15 years, and I'm like, probably never, because I just love these girls so much. But it was one of my favorite stories is of a survivor who was 12 years old when she was first trafficked. She got into a car thinking she was going to go work in a restaurant in Cambodia, and instead she was sold to a brothel. By the time it was all over, she had been exchanged to 3 different brothels. By the time she was 15 years old, she was highly addicted to ice, and just it was like her life was over. She just wanted, by the time she ended up at Rapha House, was rescued and ended up at Rapha House, she didn't want to live. And we can only imagine the kind of horrors that she had been through. Um, Within a few months of being at Rapha House and being able to come off of the drugs and to kind of step into some clear thinking, to get on that path to healing, to begin to learn how to read and write. She didn't know how to read and write at 15 years old because that had been stolen from her. Just to watch all of that progress, it was so amazing. And we watched her leave our program and launch into her own community. And she actually failed and went back into the lifestyle of prostitution and drugs because of the trauma accompanying this issue. But our social workers and counselors continued to follow her, even in her failure, continuing to reach out to her, continuing to show love and support to her. And I want everybody to know that it's never too late. And she is now a survivor who is thriving, who is now considering coming back to work with us in our program with our special needs children. And so that is just such a powerful story of what this issue really looks like, and that it's not a short-term fix. These girls are our family, and we want to stand beside them in success and failure, hopefully back to success, into a successful future where they can achieve their hopes and dreams. They're so worth it.
Wow. That's amazing. I think we all appreciate hearing, it wasn't just this like happy ending all of a sudden, you know what I mean? It was this real life thing. And again, it takes me back to what if we could have prevented that? You know what I mean? Like the key is it's still going and educating as much as possible and having the vehicle and the people that are able and willing to go and raise awareness, not only with us, but with those villagers. So I just want to protect more of them from even having to go through that harsh life. Wow. That's amazing. And to see that she is now considering partnering with you too is like, I can see how that would make sense, right? You've gone through and you've survived something so horrific, and really your goal is to help all the other people as well. So.
Yeah, Kirsten, that's one of the coolest things about turning 15 is we can now look back with longevity, and we have several of our girls who've now come back. They've gone and got their own training, had the educational process, and are qualified to come back and work with us and provide care to other girls who have experienced trauma. So it's just it's just amazing to watch and amazing to be part of. Yeah.
Wow, it's really coming around full circle
Yeah.
to see. You guys have been around for 15 years. I don't know if we talked about that. That's amazing.
That's,
Happy birthday.
thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, that's incredible. Wow, you've really created such an impactful program in the last 15 years. And I'm just so grateful. I'm grateful for you, Steph, and your efforts and just your heart and your willingness to be on with us today and to work with us and our group. I know that we are just getting started. So
Thank you, Kirsten.
yeah, I was going to say, just kind of as a reminder for everyone, every dollar that you donate is multiplied, into $3. So whatever you can do is like so appreciated. And just remember that what we're doing is really cutting off the head right at the beginning, giving all of these social workers and maybe even some of these girls who are coming back now to participate a vehicle to go and to really fulfill that whole life's purpose for them to go into their own communities and to be able raise that awareness. Without the vehicle, without the resources, without people like you guys, it's just not possible. So my new goal is to now reduce that 1.2, not in 2019, okay? Hashtag not in 2019. That's not happening. We are reducing that number. That is my new goal. You guys, thank you so much for being on today. I appreciate your time, Steph, and for all, we have so many comments. So many of you guys are sharing this. Please continue to do that. I know that we can far exceed the goals that we're starting out with. I'm so excited to see what you guys are going to create. Thank you so much. Take care.